Trey says, got to give Curtis some props because he was the first I saw about the Norlander podcast remarks on Thiero. Now everyone else is running with it. So.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that is, because I just, if there is any national college basketball content, I consume it. Like everything the Field of 68 puts out, I listen to it, and I can't stand some of those guys, but I just do, man. Like I'm a sucker for it. But that's my favorite show, the Norlander and Parrish. And I listened to about half of it the other day, and that's where we heard him talking about Boogie in Florida and, Cal telling Boogies if he hits the portal, he's not, like the doors closed at Arkansas and all that. And then yesterday after the show, I was just doing some stuff around the house, and I was like, I'm going to listen to the rest of it and see what he has to say here. So it's set for a full day that podcast was out before I even heard that. But it was crazy because they were doing like a stay or go segment and was talking about everybody and like kind of deep diving on some of the guys like, Darian Williams and, RJ Lewis and Tahad Pettiford and all these guys. And he's just like, yeah, a few more names for you. Adou Thiero, Carter Knox. I think they're both going to wind up back at Arkansas. And I was like, whoa. So, how you can do like the rewind 15 seconds thing. I did it like 3 times. Like, I'm going to make sure that's exactly what he said. And then I'm going to go post it in the Discord because that's crazy. But hey, there you go.
I see. This is one of those situations where, like, I wonder. Obviously, Matt Norlander, like you said, the guy that we owe a lot to because we clowned him whenever he didn't pick Arkansas good last year, and then we did our, we gave him his props and all that. Clearly, a very respectable voice. But I always sometimes wonder. I'm like, because you listen to national guys all the time, like you said, and like sometimes they say stuff that you don't know, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. And then sometimes I'm like, I wonder if he just kind of said that offhand and like really didn't like realize what he like. Didn't really think about it too deeply. But a lot of times these guys who are in Matt Norlander's position don't really like to do that, especially someone like him. Like they don't really like to just throw stuff out there because they don't want it brought back up in their face. And so it is very fascinating. Like and also the timing of it, because it was before he went to this Klutch Pro Day thing yesterday, right?
I think so. Yeah. But I actually think him participating in the Klutch Pro Day is a good thing for Arkansas. Potentially here. It's very interesting. And like Matt Norlander, like I don't think it was just a thing where he just pulled it randomly. He's very meticulous, like with his show prep and everything. And he was reading his notes and like he specifically had Adou and Carter listen. There were a bunch of guys that he didn't mention, but he did mention them, which I found interesting. He also provided more context on Knox and was like, hey, maybe he got some better feedback than anticipated, but he didn't say anything else about Adou. And then he talked about other guys. And at the very end, he was like, of all the guys we talked about here, the one that feels the most hazy to me is Jameer Watkins. And it's like, he didn't even double back. So it was just interesting the way that it was said. So what I've been trying to convey to folks and hey, feel however you want about it. If folks want to say, no, that's BS, he's an idiot, do that. If you want to take it to the bank, do that at your own risk. For me, I imagine he probably heard something from someone, and does that mean it's right or he's the ace? I don't know, but maybe that door is just open slightly more than we thought it was. I would imagine he's looking for a specific guarantee that he doesn't have yet. We'll see if he gets it.
Yeah, and regardless of what ends up happening, because I think still, like, it still makes sense that we should be expecting Adou Thiero to go to the draft, but I think it makes a lot of the other pieces, because all the time, anytime we get information, then we start looking at other things. We view that differently. It views kind of the entire way you view this Arkansas offseason changes a little bit if you realize that actually there was a possibility there. And even if Adou Thiero ends up going to the draft, it kind of makes a little bit more sense why Arkansas hasn't really been connected to any fours or hasn't really been connected to like they're rounding out that depth chart there. Like it makes a little bit of sense. And
it makes me scratch my head a lot less.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, like, if Adou Thiero ends up going to the draft and Arkansas ends up shit out of luck, like, okay, we can talk about that. But it is funny how as much as we can pick at these things and be like, why are they making this decision? Why are they making that decision? We all agree that like if both of those guys were to come back to Arkansas, there would be no questions to be asked. It'd be like, wow, Arkansas's brought back the squad, and we'd feel a lot better.
Also, shout out to our guy Quinn, by the way, for a super chat. Good to see you. He says Quinn is here, no reason to fear, but I know
we are glad you were here, Quinn.
Oh yeah, man,
we are indeed. I want to say one more thing about Adou, because you mentioned that pro day, that Klutch Pro Day. That was one of the things that I was really wondering about. We talked about it some on the pod of like, okay, What are they going to be comfortable letting him do at the combine? Turns out that was nothing aside. Like, we went and got fitted for suits the other day. That's basically what Adou did at the combine. You know what I mean? So that was kind of interesting. But if you look at this pro day here, we knew that they were going to have that a couple days after the combine. And the question was, does he participate or not? And what does he do? Because they set these up very, very specifically. Every drill they do, everything is tailored to each individual player that's in there. They're showing off strengths and they're hiding weaknesses. And so, like there's a lot of just faces in the crowd and some ball handling stuff, whatever. We don't know how much Adou did here, but you can tell he did something. Like we'll see at the end that he's in kind of a long sleeve or whatever. So people are like, oh, he didn't do anything. Well, a lot of times these guys play 12 straight minutes in a basketball game. They sit down, they put their shooting shirt back on. And so it could be something like that. But at the very end, the dude is shirtless and he's drenched in sweat and he's like running over to the team huddle and they're, getting hyped up or whatever. So he very clearly did something. And my thought process with that knee is if you're able to break that kind of sweat, you know what I'm saying? And there he is right there. Like watch the man. I'm not trying to be weird, but he's glistening over here in just a second, and look at him. That's a dude who's been working. Okay.
And that is a participant in this combine.
Nothing on his knee, no brace, no sleeve, no nothing like that. So maybe he didn't do that much. Maybe he was working hard. But hey, he was out there and active. But what this tells me is because some of what I was hearing is that, the reason why they didn't do so much with him at the combine is because maybe that knee's not quite 100%, but also they were pretty comfortable with where his draft stock was. Well, that's the case, then why do anything here? And so it makes me wonder, and if you think about what he said, like we're very much connecting dots here, but he's like, hey, the door's kind of closed for me, but not for my people. They need to hear more assurances and stuff, and we'll see. And then, we start hearing this stuff from Norlander, and you're starting to think, well, maybe there's a certain number he's trying to get to, a certain guarantee he's trying to get to. Maybe that's why he's participating in something like that, because he hasn't gotten it yet and he's trying to get there. So that's why I still think it's very unlikely for Arkansas here, but I see the vision with where this is going and why Arkansas is waiting and why it's not 100% a done deal the other direction yet.
Two things I have to say here. One, Walter Clayton Jr. looked about 5'9" in that video. Might not have helped his draft stock. Maybe should have put him on some stilts. But seriously, I hope Walter Clayton gets drafted. But two, you remember when Cal about a week ago said something about, hey, if you watch the NBA playoffs, you'll see a lot of guys that look like Adou Thiero. He, basically indicating that Cal has closed that door. The Cal, in that moment, at least made it seem like, hey, Adou is 100% an NBA guy. I wonder if maybe even that message was kind of strategic of Cal trying to do him a solid and kind of realizing, hey, he's not getting the feedback he maybe wanted to get.
He also said,
and I wonder if that also was a little bit of a chess move of like, hey, I'm trying to do everything I can to help get you drafted. If it doesn't work out, don't forget that I did that, and then Adou might be more receptive. Honestly, man, like the fact that it's even a conversation right now is cool with me, regardless of what he does. I just hope that he's able to make the best decision for himself. Of course, we would love for it to be at Arkansas, but like I also would love for Adou to get that confirmation from someone that is like, you're going to achieve your dream. You're going to get drafted. You're going to make a lot of money. Like that would be cool as well too.
No doubt. Cal also said, like he did that whole thing about, you see guys in the NBA playoffs, they look like Adou, he's ready and everything. He did throw in there, he's got to get healthy though. Like he does have to get healthy. So it's fascinating. And these are things that we grasp onto right now. It's kind of funny. Also, shout out to Hunter Dickinson for being there. Don't know if you guys saw him in the video. Somebody said they thought they saw Caleb Battle in the background. I didn't go back and watch again, but good for him.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting. Somebody tweeted about it. I was like, it'd be funny if there was like Caleb Battle and like going head to head against Adou Thiero. I was like, man, it's like kind of two worlds colliding there, two separate times of Arkansas people. But he was in there too, and it was funny seeing the faces in the crowd, just seeing. And now every time I look at Pat Riley, when I see there, I was like, man, if he had a beard, it'd be John Calipari from 2020. Be the same guy. It just looks so much alike. Let's see. Also, Trey wants to know, do we know if Knox has any private workouts with teams scheduled?
I think he has at least one, has or had. I don't know if that's already happened this week. I think he had at least one before the combine too. And so that might be part of the delay. Sometimes those things get rescheduled. Sometimes you can add on to that. Sometimes you just cancel them if it is what it is. But I do think he seems pretty committed to getting like every ounce of feedback that he possibly can. And that would certainly explain why we haven't heard anything just yet. He's got a week.
Now, I just want to bring this up from Ralph because I just laughed. But he said, John Neighbors said the team was better without Boogie, and now he's surprised he's left. Boogie stated negativity ran him out of Arkansas. I don't remember saying that ever, but yeah, I'm also not surprised that he left either.
I also don't think Boogie Flan said. Did Boogie Flan say that?
Yeah, dude, it was on SportsCenter. It was a quote. Just they just very well known. Apparently, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like Ralph just jumped in. It was just like first guy I see. I'm just going to say these.
I feel like our trio has been from the jump the kings of, hey, the team has played better since Boogie's injury. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a correlation or a causation. Correlation doesn't mean causation. Like, I feel like we've been pretty transparent about that.
John's been very harsh on that basketball team from start to finish, though, and it has not gone unnoticed. So
then when he got in front of that camera for that interview for that Vice documentary, he started smiling, sunshine pumping like crazy. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I was just waiting for Ralph to finally call me out on my all my things that I've said in my past. So I'm glad Ralph is here though. But I'm also glad that somebody named Ben's here because it's just my favorite thing. Y'all might as well get used to this. It's the Calipari way. This has
been cracking me up, bro. I could get used to this. Actually, it's so funny, man. Kentucky picked up that kid yesterday, and I just quote tweeted and I was like, good grief. And my thought process is like, they've got like, it feels like they got 19, 20 guys. I mean, how many players do you get on this roster? It's just very reminiscent of Muss, where he just go out and get guy after guy after guy after guy. And you're like, good Lord, when is the roster full? And then, people are just like, yeah, enjoy Cal and get used to this. And it must be a rough life. And I'm like, it's brutal over here. I mean, hell, coming off of a Sweet 16, in the first year, and then you have a half full roster right now that's already a projected top 10. This is rough. And we're suffering, we're struggling, we're trying to make it through the best that we can. We just lean on each other in these times. It's crazy, bro.
I mean, we've made it through some hard times together as a trio. But I don't know if we're going to be able to survive having two NBA level players come out of Arkansas. One of them might come back. One of them might not come back. Maybe they both come back. Maybe they both leave. Like, this is a dreadful spot to be in as a sports fan. Having NBA teams want your players and then potentially having those players come back. Like, it's a disaster, man.
Well, my favorite thing real quick is I like to take shots at Kentucky. I guess they just announced, Kentucky did, that they're doing an exhibition game against Georgetown to just like recently. And, everyone's tweeting about it, media. There's a certain person from the media, I laugh because it just has to be shots taken at Cal, where it's like, wow, another big time exhibition at Rupp. Kentucky will play both Purdue and Georgetown in the preseason. A total revamp from what Big Blue Nation is used to. It's like, what does this mean, man? Like, what are you talking about?
Anytime we mention Kentucky, there's just a swarm of folks who are like, you only talk about talk about our team, not yours. You're obsessed. But like, until John Calipari stops being the measuring stick for success for Kentucky, they can't tell me nothing, man. It's every single thing they do. They have to compare to what that man is doing. By the way, Arkansas hosted Kansas in Bud Walton Arena and played the TCU down the road in Fort Worth in the preseason. They're getting ready to play Memphis in an exhibition game this coming year, and then they're going to have another marquee opponent at home. So, are we? I don't know. Are we measuring wieners here on exhibition schedules? What are we doing?
It doesn't matter, man. It just goes back to the whole point I wanted to bring up with that person saying, get used to this with Cal. It's like, it'll never change. There's nothing like, it could be that they decided to install new colored wood on the court there at Rupp Arena. And everyone would be like, this is just a complete change from what it used to be. As if like, Cal was the one saying, we need a certain color of wood here on the court. Like, man, y'all are just let it go. Just move on, let it go, my man. That's all I'm
Get
saying.
used to having the exact same postseason result as Kentucky. Get used to it.
Yeah. Just get
Second weekend. Get used to it.
So dumb.